This is Rudbeckia, a sun-loving, low-maintenance flower that makes me question why I grow any other flowers in my garden. But only 3 short years ago, I didn't think that they were worth growing at all. So what changed? Welcome back to another flower favorite video. I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be telling you why I fell in love with Rudbeckia and why I think you're going to also. So let's get into it. Rudbeckia is kind of a jack of all trades. Depending on the variety, it can be an annual, a perennial, or one of those weirdo biennials. You can start your seeds indoors around 8 weeks before your last frost date. I find that they germinate relatively easy, but they do need light to germinate. So instead of covering your seeds, just gently press them into the soil, and then you can either leave them or you can lightly sprinkle them with vermiculite, which is usually the method that I've used. You can also direct sow your seeds out in your garden, either in the early fall before your first frost or in the springtime after your last frost. They grow best in full sun. They can tolerate part shade, but I think that they bloom the best when they have around 6 or more hours of full sun. There are quite a few different species of Rudbeckia, so I put together some information on some of the more popular ones. That way, if you're trying to decide which one you're interested in growing, you can screenshot that and just use it as like your basic starting out point for your decision. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video that I used to think that Rudbeckia was just not a flower that was worth growing. And that's because the main varieties that I was familiar with were those like really classic, like bright yellow with the brownish black centers, like the Indian Summer or the variety Goldstrom. And while I do think that these flowers are really pretty, they just weren't a flower that I was super excited about growing. But then my entire world changed when I discovered the Sahara mix and the Cherokee Sunset mix. You know when you see a flower and you just sort of like melt into a puddle of love and excitement? That is exactly what happened to me. Okay, the key to my heart is a double bloom. I'm not saying that there aren't some like single bloomers out there that I'm not absolutely in love with. I'm just saying that in most cases, a double bloom raises my excitement exponentially. Double tulips, double impatiens, double Rudbeckia. So the Sahara mix is like this really gorgeous blend of like dusty rose, light pink, soft yellows, and this like gorgeous deep burgundy like wine color that I cannot get enough of. This mix is definitely my favorite. It's what I've grown the most of. It has kind of like a romantic feel, and it mixes and blends really nice with the rest of my garden. The Cherokee Sunset mix, this last year was the first year that I grew them, and they're this like insane color combo of like these bronzy, rusty, like orange and brown and red. Only one hyphenated word comes to mind when I think of these: hot damn. It's like a summer heat wave in your garden. I am definitely growing more of these next year. Nobody can stop me. Except for a lack of space, which we always figure that out, don't we? So for this species of Rudbeckia, the Rudbeckia hirta, in most growing zones, this is an annual. In my zone, it is considered a tender perennial. And I would like to take an embarrassing second and apologize because I have been telling all of you that I am gardening in zone 8B, and I did not realize that last November, my zone changed to 9A. Hello, it's me. I find myself in 9A when I used to be 8B. It's no secret. I feel like I'm having an identity crisis. It's always been 8B. These are wild times we live in. So that's why for me, these are a tender perennial, because for zones 9 and 10, it just doesn't really get cold enough for them to die off over the winter. No matter which variety you decide to grow, Rudbeckia is a super low maintenance, easy flower. They adapt to so many different soil types. They are pretty drought resistant, but I do find that when I water them a little bit more frequently, that their blooms are a little bit healthier looking. They do bloom more. So for me, that's probably like every 3 to 4 days, I'll give them water, depending on the heat. Sometimes when it's really hot out, I try to get out there a little bit more. But I have some more high maintenance flowers in my garden that require more watering, and I'm usually short on time. So if I'm being honest with you, the Rudbeckia kind of gets the back end of the maintenance part, and they do great. So no matter your watering habits, as long as you don't completely forget about them all summer, they should do just fine. They are deer resistant, which is really important for me in my area. They also don't really seem to be bothered much by pests. So I read that they could get aphids. I've never had aphids on mine. And some of the varieties have that like kind of hairy, fuzzy like stem and leaves that like slugs and snails don't really like that texture, so they leave them alone completely. I haven't really had any problems with like diseases either. Every once in a while I notice slight areas of powdery mildew, but honestly it's hardly any, so it really doesn't feel like much to like complain or worry about. So if you're looking for a pretty low maintenance, I am losing my voice. I don't know what's going on with my voice, but can you hear it? It's like I've just gotten too excited about Rudbeckia. We should probably wrap this up here pretty quick. So if you have been looking for the perfect low maintenance, easy flower to grow in your garden, look no further, okay? I have provided you all the evidence and information that you need to choose Rudbeckia. Just let yourself fall in love the way that I did. Turn into a puddle, lose your voice, get excited, grow Rudbeckia. They look like mini sunflowers, but in my humble opinion, they are easier to grow and easier to maintain. They're an excellent cut flower. The only real effort that you have to put into growing this plant, if you want to, is when it comes to deadheading. And that's because each stem can have like multiple blooms. So if you want them to continuously bloom throughout your season, you'll want to keep up with deadheading. But I mean, it's your garden. They have a pretty long blooming window, and even some of the plants that I don't deadhead, they look beautiful for almost all summer. So I think that's pretty much it. Whenever I do these videos, I always feel like I'm leaving out and forgetting so much information. So if there's anything that I did not cover, or if you have any questions, just please let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to get you those answers. Let me know what your favorite variety is. If you've never grown Rudbeckia and you're thinking about growing it next year, let me know. I find that kind of stuff so exciting. Also, let me know if your growing zone has recently changed, okay? And if you haven't looked that up, maybe give it a little look, because you might be surprised, like I was. 9A, no longer 8B. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. I will see you in the next one.